Okay, friends and neighbors, it's DK with Mr. V Amps, and we have a Fender Deluxe reverb here. I'm told it's a 1971. I haven't confirmed that, but our customer would like this to become like a daily driver, which is fine. But we don't know if it's ever been serviced, maintained, what the story is, how healthy the tubes are, how healthy the anything is. We do know that somebody broke the grounding plug off of there. Guys, don't do that, please. So anyway, we've got 6 preamp tubes, 2 power tubes, and a rectifier. I think those are 6 V6s, or I'm sorry, I think our power tubes are 6 V6s in this one. I didn't pull the schematic or the layout diagram yet. But the customer also expressed some concerns in regard to like the power transformer and the choke and the sticky junk on them, which it's 70s era stuff. A lot of times they wax coated the crap out of everything, but we do have some concerns about the temperature. So I'm just going to start by testing the tubes, and I'm not even going to turn it on. We'll just pull the chassis and do necessary maintenance for an old-timer. The tester is automagic, but it makes you wait. These are both GE 6V6s, but they're not, they're certainly not from the same batch. One's got the darkened shielded sides and the other one doesn't. This is one of these orange Devo testers. It will not only tell me whether the tube is good or not. Sometimes it lies, but usually it's pretty good. But it will also give me a current draw number, which can be used to see if the tubes are roughly matched or not. If they're, one number off from each other, I don't worry about it, but if they're like 4 or 5 numbers off, then you search for a pair that matches a little better. Okay, this is probably boring watching this tube tester. This is only our first tube. Okay, and our tube is good with a value of 8, so that's good help. Let's keep going. Okay, so the second 6V6 here checks out as a 6 rather than an 8. And not as good of a match pair as they could be, but they'll probably work. Okay, so these RCA 7025s are like a 12AX7. There's 3 of them in this amp, and our tester has failed all of them. This is one of the weird drawbacks to these Orange Devo testers. It doesn't like 7025s, like the old RCA 7025s and the GE ones, it just doesn't like them. I don't know why. The one that's labeled 12AX7, which was the oscillator for the tremolo, that one passed just fine. And of course, these 7025 tubes that the orange tube tester hated, it tests just fine on the old ICO. Maybe old tubes want an old tester? Who knows. And the 5U4 rectifier passes too. So anyway, no bad tubes here. Just maybe a pair of power tubes that could be matched better. We can live with that. Let's keep digging. Now, by the looks of it, friends and neighbors, we are the first monkeys to visit this jungle. Alright, so let's see, early 70s, film caps, blue film caps, red film cap, ceramic caps, white caps that need to go, because those white Mallories are notorious for going kaboom. And it's actually the era. By that point they were using 2 separate ones instead of the blended one, 2-in-1 shell. So we got 2, 4, 5, 6 Mallories here. That one's a 5 microfarad. I think the rest of these are all 25s. Yeah, that's a 25. Those 2 are 25s. I hope I have the 5 microfarad. The other, if I don't, a 4.7 is equivalent. Oh, I found a date. I found names. M. Molina and L. Castillo. Does that mean that the rumor was true that Leo Fender hired immigrants to do these amps. And then the date says December, I don't know, 29? No, look, December 29, 71, so, okay. Yeah, Buddy's concern was this mess, I think, on the power transformer, or the choke here. There is something here. It's waxy. Hopefully we're not dealing with a damaged choke, maybe just one that got too warm for some reason. Output transformer 606-143 26664. Yeah, number decipherers will get all excited about this. 71 looks like. That one might be that might see 660123. Okay. 606139, so that one is probably for 71. I don't know. I'm not Uncle Doug. I don't feel like looking it up. Here I got what I expected. Rusty, crusty Mallory's puking their guts out. We've got some capacitor puke there. Got a bulge and some capacitor puke there and there. We've got a crusty resistor covered in capacitor puke. Yep. She's original. Okay, and like magic, we now have new 16 microfarad capacitors under the doghouse. This was a 2.2K resistor. That one was totally roasted and way out of tolerance. The other one here, this 10K, this one actually was fine. And a lot of other resistors turned out to be fine that I'm used to seeing cooked in a Fender. So over here on this side of the island, we have a new electrolytics. We have a new 4.7 where the 5 once sat. 50 volt cap, so that should be fine. That's the original voltage anyway. It's like hiding. Peekaboo. There it is. Alright, 25 microfarads where there were 25 microfarads. They've been up to 50 volt instead of 25. All the other resistors checked out, even the ones around the tubes, the 4.7Ks, or no, I'm sorry, 470 ohm, excuse me, and the 1.5Ks across the grids and everything. Those are usually like baked and cooked, and these test just fine, so good news. Okay, so our bias is fairly cool, kind of factory-ish. The factory voltage, the recommendations, they said you should be getting about 418 on the plates and have like 37 volts of bias. I set it to about 40 volts or negative 40 volts of bias, and the voltages are lining up. I'm checking out the, all the currents and all that are all fine. Checking bias on one of these is more than I want to explain right now, but I did learn something. I learned a hard lesson. I did bring this up on a Variac, but whoever manufactured my Variac did a really, really bad job of calibrating the dial on the top. By the time you get to about 101 or 102, you're actually putting out a full 120 volts. If you take it to where it says 117, where you'd think that's regular wall voltage, you're going to be jamming probably like 150-ish volts into this thing. And that's not good for your new filter capacitors that you just installed. So yeah, they're capable of handling 475 volts. The original factory ones were capable of holding 450 volts. So you will experience via your transformer, you will experience, and your B plus will exceed your 475, and your capacitor will go kapow, if you end up driving 500-ish volts through it. For fun, let me see how much B plus we actually have. Okay, so the loaded B plus on this is at 438, and that's plenty. I do have some new JJ 6 V6s in here. Since the GEs that were with it were not very well balanced, these are beautifully balanced actually. Same current, same plate. I mean, these are spot on. And all of the rumors that have gone around that say, thou can't get tubes anymore because reasons, because Vladimir Putin's a butthead, they are lying. I don't have any problem getting tubes. This tube, this one right here, valve number 2, it's a little microphonic. Valve number 1, a little bit, 2, a little bit. There's a lot of gain in this amp. And these are all okay. There's a little bit of tick-tock in that, but I'm not going to say enough to change it, because I don't think anybody in their right mind would be cranking this amp up loud enough. I mean, if I turn it up to what I would consider normal playing volume, yeah, I don't hear jack. So tubes are in decent shape. Our preamp tubes are fine. So I'm going to call this probably done and good. So change the power cord, changed all electrolytic caps, and changed the 2.2K resistor under the doghouse that had gone out of spec. And then put in some new power tubes that match good. Boy, what is that red dot that I'm seeing? Oh, that is... Now, you would think that that's like red plating, but it's not. That's actually a drilled hole in the plate of the tube, so you're seeing the heated cathode through there. Through the camera, that shows really, really red. It's not like that to the eye. So I see it on the camera, and I'm like, ah, what is that? No, it's nothing. In this case, it's nothing to worry about. The other one actually has a matching one, I believe. Okay, so I think we're ready to put it back together. Hooray. I just think it sounds better played loud. That sounds like a Fender to me. We're at like 2.5 on the volume, and we're still very robust and big, and we have a tremolo, and it works. Let's make fun of my crappy buzzing and rattly guitar playing. That's me, it's not the amp's fault. But everything's working, controls are quiet. Reverb is extremely reverby. And like I say, the reverb on these, it's not anything's fault, but when you turn the reverb up, the little bit of noise gets picked up, you know, via the cables and all that kind of stuff. So the amp is really quiet when you have the reverb at 0, or you have it clicked off. It will quiet. It's extra quiet then. So the reverb itself has a little bit of noise, but again, that's your tank, that's your wires. The circuit itself is fine. I checked it before I put it back in, you know, before I put it in the system. And our normal channel that nobody ever uses. Works fine too. Perhaps the normal channel you would use as your like pedal board platform or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's working really good. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I didn't really screw anything up. And it's serviced and ready to go. I believe, again, we said it was a 71. I believe that to be accurate. Actually, December of 71, so almost to 72. That would make this CBS era, which means all the collectors would oh, thumb their nose at it, and oh my gosh, it's whatever. Who cares? Who cares? This is a nice amp, and it sounds good. I'm happy, and I'm thankful I had a chance to work on it, but we'll call it good, man. We'll call it good. And unlike some other amp techs, I'm not very good at playing guitar, so I'm not going to serenade you with 20 minutes of me jamming out with my bad self, but let's get a little bit of that big reverb in there. Let's go crazy with it. I don't even remember the song, but yeah, at halfway the reverb is all the way to surfy. So yeah, there's reverb galore in here. Everything seems to be working fine. Low noise, high function, fresh power tubes just because the others were unbalanced, significantly unbalanced. And if we balance the power tubes, we get less noise. One of the two power tubes was very healthy. It tested at like an 8. And it's very plausible that I could look through my dustbin and find a similar General Electric used tube that tests as an 8, maybe. We'll try that so we have a backup, and then we'll have all American tubes in it. But as it is, I like it. I'm happy with it. Have a great day.